While it drizzled that Wednesday morning, I enjoyed the new day's freshness as I stood by the open door of a house, intermittently staring at the environment. While dressed in my school uniform, I carefully sipped my tea so that the hot liquid would not hurt my tongue. Just as I was savoring the last sip, I heard an expected honking of a car horn. Pim, pim. Yes, Auntie Pat, our neighbor, was ready to take me to school in her car since her place of work was close to my school. She graciously granted me a free ride every school day. Good morning, Auntie Pat. I magnified my tiny voice. Hello, darling. She responded warmly. Not long after she drove out of the estate, we got stuck in the regular Lagos traffic. Thank God I had sufficient time. It was 6:50 a.m. and my exam was scheduled for 9 a.m. You must be so happy to be writing your last paper today. She broke her silence. Yes, Auntie, I responded with a broad smile. Then she asked what subjects I had to write that day. Tourism studies, I responded. Surprisingly, she said, I didn't know you are an art student. Perhaps you don't look like them. I am not, I retorted. I am in the technical department. I, however, fell in love with history and tourism based on a friend's influence. Influence? How? Phlegmatic Auntie Pat flattened her cheek as she amazingly glanced at my face. Tell me more about this influence, she said. We still had about 20 minutes to go. I asked Auntie Pat to reduce the volume of the radio while I told her the story behind my choice of tourism studies, my 6th year story. My 6 years in college had been remarkable. It's an experience I will always remember. No one can trivialize that for me. It wouldn't have been interesting without Olutayo, a young, vibrant, dark-skinned girl who became my close friend at the college. She's short in stature yet elegant. Olutayo is the kind of friend every social being would like to have. Her personality is quite unique. She thrills me with her positive energy. I am very good in sciences and mathematics, but she is not. She, however, flows very well with literature, and she is skilled at creative writing. Right from JSS 1, Olutayo had represented our class in intra-school debates. On no occasion did any other class ever defeat us. Although she is not from a wealthy home, she's happy. She always say, I may not be in my millions now, but I know my millions are coming. Her uniqueness motivated me to look forward to every new school day. All of a sudden, during our SS1 first term, I observed a change. The unique Olutayo I knew suddenly became withdrawn. She started being an introvert and no longer showed interest in debates and creative writing. After 2 weeks of noticing the abstract change, I asked her if anything was wrong. She didn't open up until I had persistently inquired for a whole week. She told me how she had been struggling to live with two kinds of personalities. Her mom complained about her charisma. She described it as wayward and noisy attitude. Her dad wanted her to be a scientist. Science was, however, not her passion. Her participation in debates and creative writing competitions displeased him. Her dad wanted her to be outstanding in sciences and mathematics. He was skeptical about other departments. He wasn't impressed at all during the prize-giving day we had at the completion of our junior school. He said to her, "Can't you be like that your colleague who receives prizes in all science subjects?" He said further in an angry voice, "Look, madam, I want you to be in science department so that you can be rich, medical doctor or an engineer. Your mother and I haven't sent you to that expensive school paying your fees through our nose just for you to become a writer." After relating the opposition she experienced from her parents, I made her realize that her positive energy had been my motivation since I met her. I expatiated on how much I wish I could be like her. My parents complained about my unfriendly disposition and haughty behavior, which made many people stay away from me, feeling that I won't make a good friend. I really wished I could just be jovial like her. I suggested that she discussed this issue with the school counselor, and she did. The school counselor invited her parents and highlighted the risk involved in enforcing Olutayo to follow paths for which she was not naturally talented. After a series of advices from the school validated by Olutayo's convincing performance at the SS1 first term examinations, her parents reluctantly allowed Tayo to follow her passion. She is now in the arts department doing exploits. She has represented her school in numerous inter-school debates. She even rose to the national level at some competitions. She has won so many awards for her school and her state. Her friendship is the longest I have ever had since my childhood. At SS1, it was compulsory we chose a trade subject as instructed by the West African Education Board. I decided to choose the subject she chose so that we could study together and explore her world of interest together. I have never regretted taking that decision. Being Olutayo's friend has changed my life and revamped my outlook. Just 2 weeks ago, Olutayo won a $5,000 prize at the Arts Media Creative Writing Competition sponsored by the US Consulate. I can't just wait to remind her of her anticipated millions, which are finally here. What a story! Auntie Pat softly squeezed my left hand as she said, "Kudos to you, darling. You supported Olutayo's success story." In a sonorous, a bit emotional, and slightly shaky voice, she said further, I wish I met this Olutayo lady and gave her a warm hug for believing in herself. I also had almost the same story. If I had a kind of friend like you, I would have fulfilled my greatest potentials by now. It was then I got to know that tough antipath has tears in her eyes. I definitely know she has her own relative story, which perhaps she might tell me someday, and perhaps she might not. Our time was fast spent, and we were at my school gate already. I alighted and waved at Antipath as she drove off.